Greetings, my fellow Narcadians. It is I, Talsar Gelden, Master of the Narcadian Order, and welcome back to more Talsar Plays Star Trek Resurgence. So, when we last left things off, Diaz and Etzelar are currently stuck on an Elydian warship that had been hijacked by Dakan-possessed Hatari and Starfleet personnel. Because we also learned that those crystalline rods were storage devices, and they didn't just store genetic information, they also stored pretty much the entire personality memory engrams of a Catan. Now, what is their plan? Are they wanting to try and rebuild the Catan Empire? They are not in a very good position to do that. They certainly have some very big deficiencies. One thing that is also interesting is that they kind of seem to be work similarly to the Goa'uld from Stargate, where they still possess all of the memories of their hosts and can use them to blend in and use their knowledge as well. Whether or not this process can be reversed is yet unknown, because what we learned when we scanned Miranda, who I completely 100% justify throwing her in the brig, was that whatever process this is rewriting her. I'm trying to remember if it's just her, is her DNA, her brainwaves, like she's being overwritten by the Catan. So it just depends on whether or not if there's a threshold in which it cannot be reversed. The Hatari, who've been like this the longest, which would be Sidron and crap, I can't remember the other guy's name. They were likely the first two that were affected. How they were affected, not know. Like, they must have stumbled upon this chamber while mining. How the hell they thought it would be a good idea to stab themselves with those rods, I don't know. But it does explain on how the Atari are able to use Takan technology. So there's still some unknowns here. Dead Reckoning. Okay. Yeah, just stand there awkwardly.
You saved as many Elydian lives as you could. And more importantly, you looked after your crew.
One thing I am kind of curious is, so we did see that they infected an Elydian. No doubt that's why they are now acting upon this Elydian warship. To what end? Still not known. Are they trying to provoke a war? Are they trying to provoke a conflict here? But evidently they wanted to commandeer it for some reason, so let's find out.
That's what counts. You have to look out for your own, first and foremost.
That doesn't change the fact 15 lives were lost out there.
True. But 5 times more than that were saved. It's all a matter of perspective. Unfortunately, the Admiral was among those who didn't make it. I'm sure it's a huge blow to the Elydians. I hope they don't blame us.
Oh my God, stop doing that.
We suffered our own losses as well.
How are we getting our away team back?
Ambassador Spock and the rest of the senior staff are waiting for us in the briefing room to discuss just that. I wanted a chance for you and I.
What does Spock have to do with this now?
Given the circumstances. While protocol might suggest we alert Starfleet about our situation, Missing crew, the data breach, a possible threat from the Hotari, or Khan. I think we're better off keeping this to ourselves.
Why?
Under our control. You know what's at stake for me here, and what is at stake for you, too. I can't afford another mission gone wrong, and I'm really counting on your support. I don't want to raise a false alarm just yet. I have every confidence we can wrap this up before it gets any worse than it already is.
I'm sorry, Captain, but this isn't about you. The lives of everyone who wears a uniform are at stake.
I don't see it that way.
What do you mean?
We're ready in the briefing room, Captain.
On our way.
Yes, we do need to inform Starfleet about
Is there any
this.
update
Put
on
your
whatever
ego aside.
suggests the Zelda's warp signature?
Unfortunately, no. Somehow they were able to mask the signature and block our ability to track their trajectory.
I'm also concerned about what went with them. A Taconian energy source.
Sidron referred to it as the Cartabula.
Yes, I've been analyzing your tricorder scans. This Cartabula is more powerful than any energy source on record. It disabled our ability to warp and likely created the ion storm.
Something that powerful in their hands?
We have
Space looks awfully calm outside those windows.
It could be anywhere by now.
Literally anywhere.
I have faith in our away team. They won't give up easily, and if they can somehow manage to stay alive, then maybe they could get word to us about their location.
That'd be a hell of a lucky break.
Right now, we need all the luck we can get. The Takan also compromised our systems when Petty Officer Maris stole data from our computer core.
Do we know what she stole?
Was lost as we speak.
Oh,
It's
okay,
too
don't
soon
know
to
yet.
say exactly what they had access to.
Starfleet needs to know about this.
We're not contacting Starfleet until we fully understand the situation. There are too many unknowns.
They stole our data. That's reason enough to warn Starfleet.
But the captain does have a point. It might be better to wait until we know more.
To
We
get
either
neutral.
sound the alarm prematurely and look bad if nothing comes of it, or we keep this to ourselves and take the blame when it blows up in our face. Either way, we can't afford to get this wrong.
Indecision is not without its own consequences.
I
Yeah.
want to speak with the Hotari and get to the bottom of this before we get Starfleet involved.
I expect we'll meet resistance. The Hotari think we violated our neutrality by entering their minds. Assuming the negotiations are off, we no longer have an official role here.
We still have a responsibility to the Hotari and the
The
Elydians.
Takan are a threat to both their civilizations.
No. They're a threat to us all. The device Commander Rydek found in the Taconian Vault is an advanced delivery mechanism for a complex biogenetic transformation process.
Meaning what, exactly?
Not only are they bioforming innocent hosts, transforming them into Takan, they're taking the DNA and engrammatic data of a specific Taconian and displacing that of its host. It's a hostile takeover on a cellular level, bringing individual Takan back to life, one by one.
Is there some way it could be reversed?
That's exactly what I've been trying to find out. So far, it appears the answer is no. Once the Taconian takes control, the displacement of the host is irreversible. And the bioforming appears to be permanent. Petty Officer Maris called herself a scion of the flame, but the computer had no information about it.
She also shot the hell out of my ship as she escaped and nearly killed a few of our crew. So we know this about those scions. They're dangerous.
The Takan have crossed a line. That much is certain. However, meeting with the Hotari could offer insight into their true intentions. Under the pretense of an apology for betraying their trust and trespassing on their territory.
Given the options, this might be our best chance to find out more about what they have planned.
I couldn't agree more.
With the Cartabula gone, I can confirm we have regained warp capability and the use of our transporters.
Excellent.
Maybe the ion storm is
arrange a meeting on Hotari as
gone.
soon as possible. As Ambassador Spock suggested, under the pretense of an apology.
Aye, Captain.
Nice work, everyone.
You're long overdue for a Duridium infusion.
It looks like I am.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done that.
Aside from almost running out of Duridium, you're in good health.
Nice to get some positive news for a change.
You I don't worry about. The captain, however...
Go on.
You see it, don't you? He's desperate.
Yeah.
Withholding intel from Starfleet just to save his reputation. That's not normal behavior for a captain. And you've dodged the issue. We can't make mistakes. Might go down as the most obvious thing a first officer ever said. You've spent enough time with him now. Seen enough of how he runs the ship. If there's something wrong, as the ship's doctor, I need to know. Don't sugarcoat it. You know I wouldn't.
To be honest, I'm worried about him. It seems like the stress of this mission is getting to him. He has so much riding on its success, and I am concerned he'll do something rash to ensure it.
Good to know we see eye to eye on this. And I want to be clear, I care about Solano. I really do. I've been his doctor for years.
I mean, this just reinforces what I've been saying since the beginning, that Solano should not have been sent out on this mission at all.
There are more important things at stake than offending an old friend. If it gets any worse, you know where to find me.
Jara.
Monitor your Duridium levels. I'll be right back.
How's your wound?
Like it was never there.
Aside from the
Lucky
scar.
you were there with me. Without you, I'd be, well... Thank you for saving my life.
This is something it keeps bugging me. You can't really see it now that I'm paused, but if you look down, you see how her hand is reflecting off the metal wall behind her? The same thing with your shoulder.
Even with
It shouldn't be doing that.
Technology, it wouldn't have mattered if you'd left me for dead.
You're welcome. Just doing my job.
I'll never forget it.
What's going on
I
here?
saw the truth down in those mines. What Sidron and Galvin really are.
Galvin, okay, this is the
Who
guy's
they've
name.
become. The lengths they're willing to go to. What they did to that Lydian. It's hard to accept. That everything I thought I knew, so much was a lie.
It's always better to know. No matter how awful, the truth is better than living with a lie.
I am coming around to that thinking as well.
Commander Rydick, you're needed on the bridge at once.
What is it?
The Hotari have agreed to meet.
I mean, hopefully we can, Talus can help smooth things over. It really depends on how far the Hotari have been compromised. Stowaways.
They haven't found us yet.
You must not have internal sensors working, right? Otherwise they would have picked them up by now.
Rescued. We have no idea when or if the Resolute is going to catch up. But if we can get access to the Zeldi systems, we might be able to figure out what the Takan are up to. You got somewhere we could do that?
Let's see what we got to work with here.
For how uptight the Elydians are, that cargo bay is kind of a mess.
Come on, Carter. We need to stick with the tall guy.
Huh. Elydian consoles still have mechanical keyboards as a backup.
I think that's a good policy.
Power cells. Elydians must supplement main system power with these. No time to look over here. I better follow Major Arminta. Good thing this was here. Made it a lot easier to transport across the ship. If we took another second, Miranda might have... Based on how this is reinforced, probably contains dilithium. Stray phaser blast could cause a piezoelectric rupture and blow a hole in the ship. Better be careful.
Good to know. We could use that.
Looks airtight and climate controlled. Must be where they put the precious cargo.
Looks like there's nothing else to interact with, so let's go over here.
Up there? Alright. Etzelar, let's do this.
The internal sensors.
The what?
When they scan the ship for life signs, they'll know right where we are.
Yeah.
There must be devices that perform the scan.
Right there. And there. There's several of them around the room.
Got it. We'll disable them.
How? They're too high to reach, even for me.
Phasers!
Not too high for our phasers.
Low power, Nelly. Let's not set off any fire alarms.
I got the ones over here.
Got one. Another down.
Hurry, Carter!
I am. One left.
Here it comes.
They'll see that they're offline though. Oh, that's an interesting little glitch. They got a beam coming out of your ass, Etzelar.
They won't be able to detect us.
That buys us some time.
Now that the Zelda has its power again, I might be able to access some of the ship's systems from here. I'll take care not to give away our position.
Did you have some really spicy food there, Etzelar? Oh, look at that! That is just so silly. What the hell? I mean, this game just, it has issues. Let's be honest. The story, I'm playing this game because I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I find the story be interesting. But just these bugs are just annoying.
She probably thinks we're back on the Resolute.
Miranda.
Don't give up on her yet, Carter. For all we know, she was trapped, watching it happen. Fighting it the whole time.
It never hurts to hold on to hope. Especially when it's someone you care about.
And I know it looks bad, but we're gonna get her back. I won't let her go. I know it seems like we could never trust her again. But maybe there's a way to turn her back and Miranda could help us stop the Takan. Here, on the ship. Just because the Trill joining is permanent doesn't mean the Takan bioforming has to be.
I've heard enough of your prattling on about your friend. You have to think like a soldier. She's our enemy now. She'll be dealt with like the rest of the Takan.
My friend Miranda is not responsible for what she's doing. The Takan have taken control of her mind. We certainly can't kill her for it.
Speak for yourself. If anyone threatens the Empire, they are the enemy. It's just one life, and it's already been lost.
You don't get to talk about Miranda.
You don't get to ignore the truth.
We don't like this any more than you do. The Takan are a threat to all of us. They turned our crewmates too. You really think they're gonna stop there?
All I know is that more of my people have been lost to the transformation than yours. Not to mention my admiral and the others who didn't survive your rescue attempt. Our losses are mounting. Yours are just beginning.
We're stuck on this ship, same as you.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
I'm blocked out of helm control. Propulsion? And they're closing down systems faster than I can check them. They're always changing these interfaces. I can hardly keep up.
Let us help.
Fine.
How do you know what those keys do?
They're using a senior officer's access code to lock down our systems from the bridge. The Takan must have turned someone in command.
Come on. There we go.
Here's something. I can see the course they have plotted in. The Zelda. That's where we are.
That's not exactly news.
Long way from Hotari space.
I hope the Resolute is all right back there.
The Lydian fleet has explored a lot of systems, but it's all in the opposite direction of where we're going. We're headed to the edge of the galaxy.
Nothing but uninhabited systems along the way. And if we keep going, we'll leave charted space. A lot sooner than I like to think about, too.
That can't happen. We need to take control and turn this ship around. Get back to the front lines.
And he should be cut.
We are on the front lines. They're going to do this all over the quadrant. The whole Federation is at risk.
That is a possibility, but it's already a reality for my people.
I'm sure it's pretty damn real for the people who are trapped in their own bodies controlled by the Takan. You can't just turn your back on them.
I'll take this ship without you if I have to. And I'll bring it back to Lydia, or I'll destroy it. I won't let it stay in the hands of the enemy.
Think strategically. We stand a better chance by working together. You're right to be angry. But it doesn't do any good to turn it on us.
Fair enough.
The most important thing is that we get control of this ship, so that we don't end up so far away that the Resolute can't ever catch up to us.
And if we control the Zeldi, that also means they can't use that Cartabular thing.
I'm not sure we can do much more from here.
What's this? It's a data stream.
It looks to be a two-way communication.
Let me see if I could put it through a demultiplexing processor.
Can you get that clearer?
I'm trying.
Okay.
Okay. That should do it.
Hello? Can you read me?
Itasca, is that you?
Major!
It's my lieutenant. Where are you?
I'm here with some of the others. We're trapped in the ATP.
Our artillery targeting platform.
The bulkheads are sealed, and ruptured power conduits on the other side are discharging at high voltage. Major, we've seen Zidron and the other Atari, and if we can get free, I think we'll be able to overpower them and take back the ship.
Itasca, are you still there? Itasca, are you still there?
You shouldn't trust anyone else you meet. The Hatari have been transforming people on the ship.
Yes, we know that.
We've seen it happen.
Bioforming.
It's only a matter of time before any remaining crew are turned against us. You have to come and help us.
I gotta ask, are you sure that's really your comrade?
It's Itasca. You're going to have to trust me. I know Lieutenant Itasca well. That's her. Clear and not under duress beyond our current circumstances. I'm sure of it.
Trust goes both ways. We trust you. You trust us.
I'll go with that. Until you give me reason not to.
Back at you, Stretch.
Fair enough.
We'll make it to you undetected, and we'll free you from the ATP.
We'll be ready and waiting, sir.
I may not know the computers very well, but I know every inch of this ship. I can get us there, safely, through the back routes.
She's holding a phaser, the phaser's at her hip. Man. Please stop that. No, there we go. Thank you. That was annoying. Unmasking. All right, so how deeply are people compromised here? He is compromised. It's the Queen compromised.
Your Majesty, an apology is in order. The Federation...
Spare us your apologies, your excuses, your pathetic explanations. You said you were here under the pretense of peace, yet you trespassed into our minds. I should have known you couldn't be trusted when you sided with the Illidians. Your intentions have been clear from the start.
We knew you were hiding something. We had to find the truth.
I hope you were satisfied with what you found.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Her actions nearly caused a war.
I was addressing the Queen.
Galvin speaks for the Voltari now.
Fortunately, we were able to resolve this ourselves despite your interference. The Illidians have agreed the mines will remain under Hotari control.
We now recognize the Hotari as the sole authority in this region.
Yeah.
Their presence here is no longer necessary.
So you can consider the matter resolved.
That makes no sense. What did they do to you?
They convinced us that this was the best deal we were going to get.
I thank you for coming, but the sooner the Federation leaves, the better.
The hell we will.
Captain?
What about my crew trapped aboard that ship? Or what you did to my security team? The data you stole? I want to make one thing clear. No one is to leave Hotari space without Federation approval. No one.
You don't have the authority to do that.
When in fact you have none. You came here under the presumption you would be the ultimate authority. That you would show up and render judgment in this petty dispute over precious resources between lesser people. But instead, your arrogance and self-interest was your undoing. Blinding you to the real power at work here. Something far beyond your feeble imagination.
Enough of this nonsense. You're not fooling anyone. We know you're Takan.
Takan. A word I haven't heard in a very long time. At the height of our power, the Takan Empire spanned hundreds of thousands of light years and trillions of Taconians.
An empire that encompassed what is
Yeah.
now considered Federation territory.
Yeah, they're all compromised.
Was once ours. So it feels only right that we reclaim what was lost. Everything you hold dear will be gone. The first of many painful losses to come.
You do realize this will never work. The Federation will stop you no matter what it takes.
Will they? From what I can tell, the Federation is little more than a loose assemblage of the weak and the misguided. But I certainly invite them to try. You might be surprised how many want to be part of the most advanced civilization the galaxy has ever seen. We will not stop until we've reclaimed what is rightfully ours. Imagine what a queen, a starship captain, or even a Federation ambassador could accomplish if their power was wielded by a truly superior entity. In the face of such impossible odds against an adversary so clearly more advanced in every way, the only logical choice is to submit.
Never.
Alright, trigger. Probably
Seize
have.
them.
Yep.
Get us out of here. Now!
Rydick to Rezel. Beam us out.
Well, that went well. I just want to check my levels here real fast. Come on. Yeah, my mic's still recording. If you guys had been following my my uploads, I had an issue with Spaceborne 2. So,
Close quarters combat? Infiltrating an enemy stronghold?
Something like that.
I once spent 6 days crawling through sewers during the siege of Tofar Ket to retake the citadel there. That's just one of many campaigns I've served in. My dress uniform is well decorated. I can assure you of that.
I'm sure you've given yourselves plenty of medals.
We're up against the Takan now. This is different than anything you faced before.
Not when you're used to putting down an overmatched Hotari rebellion.
You wouldn't think it was so easy if you'd been there. Enemies change, but the fundamentals of war do not. Now, Lieutenant Itasca, she fought shoulder to shoulder with me in that siege.
So you're pretty close, huh?
She's like a daughter to me. She's saved my life more than once. She's more than just a comrade in arms.
That must mean she's a good soldier.
The very best.
We saved your life. What does that make us?
We aren't out of danger yet. But once we have my comrades, proper soldiers, we'll be able to retake the bridge. Then, our fleets will catch up to us. The ATP is just down that corridor.
Is this the artillery platform?
This is the power distribution for the forward armament cluster.
That's a mess.
There was combat here. Disruptor burns on the walls. Signs of a grenade detonation.
If there was a fight, the Takan might still be nearby.
Maybe my people killed them.
Don't see any bodies.
Waiting for us.
And that's a problem for when we meet them.
The distribution conduits have been knocked loose. The currents in those lines would be lethal. Is there any way to power those down?
Each circuit has a control panel that regulates power to the magnetobanks.
I can track connections between the power lines and the control panels. I should be able to clear a safe path to your crew.
We'll get the door open here.
It's heavy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's built for people bigger than you. Alright, find a way to deactivate the electricity. Okay. I'm kind of curious as to who the hell the Illyrians fight. Well, I've heard... That's a stock sound I've ever heard one. I've heard that through numerous games. Isn't that... Where am I going? Guess I go this way. Yeah, there's a console. No, this is where I came from, right? that's where it came from. Console over there. So how do I get over there? Is the question. Can't climb over that. Let me go back down here. See, there's something down here I missed. Nothing down here for me to use. I don't know why they would even have this section. But this doesn't go anywhere. Ah, I can see your eyes. Can't push that. Is that weird lighting artifacts going on in there? Almost looks like it's it's transparent. You can see the floor. And oh no, actually I know I take that back. It's not transparent. It's reflecting the floor because that is reflecting the console. Oh, shit. Here we go. Damn, I completely missed this. I guess I know what that ladder's for now. Hello.
You! Federation, you made it.
Barely. There's a lot of collateral damage out here.
They backed us into a corner.
We did that to drive them out. Put some space between us and the enemy.
Odd, you have no facial markings.
They're here. Get down.
I think they've given up on capture.
We'll never make it if we go back that way. You, give me a hand with this! Go! Go! Behind us!
Oh, that's what those are. Objects with an explosion mark over them will explode when shot. Use these explosive objects to take out multiple enemies at once. Okay.
Go, Federation! You take the lead. We'll keep them busy.
Another shot.
Fall back! Hold him back! We can't let him reach the stairs!
Damn. Damn. Okay. Okay, this end section here is a little bit more difficult. Oh. So I got shot and the sequence ended. What? Or... a lot of them! Okay, wait a minute. No, it's just redoing it again? Thank you guys for just staying there and letting me shoot you. I appreciate it. Out. Okay, no, there we go again. Mission failed. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's retry. Do I have to redo the entire sequence? No.
Fall back! Hold him back! We can't let him reach the stairs!
Come on, hurry! No!
No! You can't just run in there.
You must live to fight.
Not sure if I failed that or what, but that was a complete foobar.
We let the enemy take them. Hadri and Private Turo.
They weren't the only ones. But if we hadn't, it would have been all of us. I'll have to live with that, and I'll answer for it when I die. It's not the Illidian way to leave one of our own behind. It's a sin to do so.
We've lost people too. I know it's not easy.
What makes it worse is that when we were in there, trapped, Hadri is the one who said that we had to live to fight. And we all agreed. We said if one of us was taken, the others wouldn't stop. We'd keep going, make our way to the bridge. They died so we could fight on.
The Takan don't want them dead.
They want to steal their bodies. And steal their minds.
The Takan knows everything the host knows.
That means they know our plan.
Mm-hmm.
They know we're heading to the bridge.
Yep. General quarters.
Tylus, you should be in sickbay.
I'll finish this.
I couldn't just lie there knowing the entire fate of Hotari hangs in the balance. How did it go?
Bad.
You look exhausted.
I'll be honest. It was a total disaster.
That can't be true.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that they'd made a deal, that the Illidians agreed to peace. After what we saw Sidron do to the diplomat in the mines, I could hardly believe there was hope, but then... Is that true?
I'm afraid the truth is far worse than that.
There's no deal.
No, there's a deal.
No. They're all Takan now. The Hotari, the Elydians, everyone.
No. That can't be true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Where will I go? I can't go back. I don't have a home anymore.
You're always safe aboard this ship. And you're welcome to stay as long as you need.
Thank you.
The Federation stands with the Hotari. You don't have to doubt it for a second.
Yellow alert.
Commander Rydick, we need you on the bridge immediately.
I wasn't going to sugarcoat it for her. She needs to know what's going on.
We've got an Elydian ship, the Veskar, rapidly bearing down on our position.
Or what was the Veskar? Now I'm not so sure.
Bring it up on the view screen.
600 kilometers in closing. Still coming straight for us.
Oh! It's covered in Takan crystals.
Commander?
Should we put our shields up? Just as a precautionary measure.
I'd like to avoid escalating this any more than we have to. Whatever the hell this is.
400 kilometers in closing.
Shields up. Ready phasers.
Shields up. Phasers ready. Incoming.
Lock phasers and open fire.
Heavy damage. But deflectors still at full power?
They're going to
bypassed our shields entirely.
It's impossible. God damn it, return fire. Everything we've got. Rydick, modulate the shield frequencies. See if we can get us any cover.
Commander,
I've got this. Just keep firing.
Inverse shield.
Shields still have no effect.
That doesn't make sense.
I'll try another. There!
We've got incoming! How do they keep matching our shield frequency?
They couldn't. Unless... They've compromised our shield algorithms. They can bypass our shields at will.
What?
That's what they did with the data.
Captain!
He's out cold.
Why'd they stop?
Damage report.
Running on emergency power. Major hull damage on decks 4 through 7. Warp core is stable and intact.
We're completely
They want to
vulnerable.
board you and take you over.
We're being held by the Veskar. It's Galvin.
They want to use it as a Trojan horse to get into the Federation, clearly.
Commander Rydick, where's your captain? Not dead, I hope. At least, not yet.
You're dealing with me. Is that a problem?
One inferior life form is as good as another. I have to give you credit, Commander. You survived longer than I thought you would. But make no mistake, your shields are useless, your weapons ineffective, and there's nothing you can do. I could destroy you at any moment. But I'd rather hear your pleas for mercy first.
Oh, fuck off.
Your existence is entirely in my hands, and I'm not in a forgiving mood.
It's entirely possible you could destroy us. But the truth is, we're worth more to you alive than dead. Better if we report back to Starfleet about the power of Taconian technology and the futility of fighting it.
There might be value in that. I've been thinking about what you said, Commander. That the Federation would stop me no matter what. Your performance in this encounter has not supported that claim.
The Veskar's weapons are powering up.
What game are you playing here?
So I've decided to let you live. Because there's merit to the idea you're worth more to me alive. Tell your Federation the Takan are as merciful as they are powerful. That you were fortunate to escape with your lives.
This isn't over.
I assure you, we've only just begun.
Yeah, I really give a fuck about your opinion of me.
Signal.
Can you track their warp signature?
Nothing. It's untraceable, just like before.
Notify Ambassador Spock. I want everyone in the briefing room to discuss our options.
Now we report to Starfleet.
What's the status of the repairs?
Hull breach should be patched up in a matter of hours. Impulse power is at 67%. Should be fully restored soon.
Still no luck tracking Galvin's warp signature. They've all but disappeared.
Keep trying. Finding that son of a bitch is the best shot we've got.
To do what?
Commander Rydick, you had the Khan after the ship was attacked. What is your assessment, given our current situation and the losses we have suffered?
It would appear we are severely outmatched.
In that case, we might have an option. Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire. If anyone could find Galvin, it would be him.
How do we
That's
get...
assuming he's willing to help us.
Yeah.
True,
And
but there's only one way to find
and access to the planet is restricted.
out.
Wouldn't we need to secure authorization from the Federation Council to contact him?
The nearest Federation outpost is Angoria. I can travel there by shuttle and inform them personally of the threat from the
That takes too much time.
Meanwhile, the Resolute can travel to the Delphi Ardu system in search of Portal 6-3.
I still have my doubts.
I do not. Captain William T. Riker has first-hand experience with the area and with Portal 6-3. His guidance will prove invaluable and should alleviate your concerns.
Delphi Ardu 4 is a restricted zone for good reason. For all we know, we could be walking into a trap. Not to mention the high likelihood Portal 6-3's allegiance will be with the Takan. It's just too much of a risk. A waste of time. Time we can't afford to lose.
According to Commander Riker's records of meeting Portal 6-3, he was willing to listen to reason. We may be able to convince him that Galvin is wrong.
Or he'll just be happy to learn his civilization is making a comeback. In which case, we only compound the problem.
Well, we're in no worse shape
I'm
before
inclined
than
to
now,
agree with
so...
Commander Rydick. Her logic is sound. This portal may have knowledge that proves to be invaluable, including information on the nature of the Cartabula. We must act on the facts at hand.
Then we'll give it our best.
I'll arrange a meeting with Captain Riker.
And I will speak with the Council. They need to understand the magnitude of the situation. I can leave for Andoria immediately. I wish you luck finding Portal 6-3. The very future of the Federation may rest in your hands.
It takes a minimum of 8
The
crew on the
breach.
bridge to run the ship. So we can expect at least that many hostiles.
If they bioformed Hadri, they know we're coming.
Which means everyone needs
They're
to be
Hatari,
ready.
not Hadri.
Take cover!
Now what? We need that door sealed.
We can handle that. Where do you need us?
There's an access path.
How do you fuck up saying the name, their names? It's Atari, not Hadri.
There. You should be able to patch into the local systems. We'll be shot
I
getting
can't believe that when the actor was reading that dialogue, he didn't say it was wrong.
up for you. On my signal. Now! Damn.
Looking for the bridge doors. Wait, what's this?
Got something?
Gravity. If I invert the artificial gravity inside the bridge, that'll throw anyone on the bridge right up into the ceiling.
He'll never see it coming.
Hey, Tosca, get ready to charge.
Charge?
Reversing gravity polarity. Now!
Amazing.
Close it!
How do we get them down?
Like this.
What are we gonna do with them?
We don't have time to take prisoners.
So you're just gonna shoot him?
I haven't decided yet.
It's not just up to you.
I'm the ranking officer.
And we're not in your army.
It may not be convenient, but we don't kill enemies who've surrendered.
Keeping prisoners is a luxury we don't have.
It's not a damn luxury.
Just stun them!
An engineer, not a soldier. This is clearly my territory.
You think you have enemy combatants here? This is a hostage situation. Each one of them has an innocent life inside. I'll keep watch on them.
As will I. We can't let our guard down around the enemy.
Petty Officer Diaz and I will figure out how to stop the ship.
Let's hurry. The rest of the Takan could show up any minute. Crystals. They're all over this place. Where's the captain?
Captain Ostego did not survive the atmosphere poisoning.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He died defending the Empire. That's how he'd want it.
This console looks unaffected. Figure this out before we get wherever we're going. If the Resolute can't catch up to us, we're in a whole different kind of trouble. Any trouble?
Don't worry about me. Worry about Stretch over there.
Why?
He's looking for any excuse to vaporize the prisoners. But I'll make sure he doesn't. Even if they're the enemy, it's not right.
I'm here if you need a hand.
You have phasers! Stun them!
This bridge. That's the best way to help.
Everything under control?
Yes. These Takan haven't made a move. Yet.
And what you're doing is working.
There's plenty more I can do. But it doesn't have to be that way. As long as they behave.
Huh.
Careful where you point that thing.
It's not active. I can't see any way this would work as a weapon. It's dead.
Out of ammo?
No.
I'm not sure.
No, I can already tell. Its BIOS seem to work on Takan, so anyone else's hands won't work. At least you're fortunate it won't self-destruct like the guns from Judge Dredd do.
Two interfaces on top of each other.
This is not Lydian programming.
Obviously, one is a Lydian, the other one's a Takan. hasn't beeped yet. Oh, maybe. So can I scan this? I can. Why wasn't it beeping?
Technology. They seem to be active, just like the rest of their tech. Tetrametric pulses.
Tetrametric?
It's the energy signature of Takan technology. Everything they make gives off this type of radiation.
They're blocking the inputs. It's not responding at all. Everything I try, it just ignores me.
Maybe we should try that other console.
Good idea.
We're gonna be there in less than an hour.
We can't let that happen.
Hold on, it would take days to go this distance with our fastest ship. We're traveling at a warp factor many times greater than this ship should even be capable of. What are the engines doing to produce this kind of speed?
Evidently, I think that has to do with the Cartabula.
It's navigational data.
We saw that already. Headed to the edge of the galaxy.
It's only a display. We couldn't use it to change course or alter speed.
It's the Takan language.
From what I can tell, the ship's systems are actively responding to input.
Which is the opposite of how most bridges work. They usually send commands, not receive them.
It's from an intrusive program. This control station won't do us any good either. What have they done to this bridge?
Consoles running themselves, some clogged up with crystals that are sending off tetrametric pulses.
But none of this is sending signals outward. It's receiving.
They're flying the ship from somewhere else.
That should be impossible. But it explains why there's less than a full bridge crew. If they aren't flying the ship from the bridge, where are they controlling it from?
Well, let's ask them.
Engine's a red line, running at full power. But this main drive manifold is spiking way over nominal levels.
Very dangerous.
Even at 100% output, the warp cores wouldn't push this much plasma to the drive section.
The reactor output matches the high speed, doesn't it?
Whether it's these crystals or the power from the Cartabula, the Takan have found a way to increase the engine output and top speed. We have to find a way to hit the brakes before we outrun anyone who could help us.
We stop it, so they can't get this ship where they're going, and enact the next phase of their plan. That is, if they don't destroy us all first. I would have thought this ship would disintegrate going this speed.
So what is their endgame? They've transformed individuals, they've transformed this ship, in a way. How far will they go?
As far as we let them. Their technology certainly doesn't seem to have limits.
I hate to think what the Cartabula could do if it was plugged into something it was meant to power. That's everything. We got some answers.
I don't like what they tell us, though.
If we can learn nothing else, then what's left is to make these Takan talk.
Not likely.
If we don't, we'll dispose of them.
Hey, that's not how we do this.
That is enough from you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It required the con to work.
I thought that thing was useless.
It was. No power. Until he touched it. Weapons must be biocoded.
Our technology will only work for one of our kind.
I can assure you, this weapon works just fine for me.
Slow down, Arminta.
You can't control this ship with the disruptor.
but I can use it to control you.
Let's talk.
The Titan's communications officer says Captain Riker will be ready in just a moment. You need to see this. The report on the data breach.
Alright. What did they steal?
Damn. It's worse than I'd hoped. They didn't just compromise our shields. They stole the shield algorithms for all of Starfleet as well. Meaning every ship is potentially vulnerable to attack, making this so much worse than it already was.
Given the potential consequences, we should notify Starfleet as soon as possible.
I don't disagree, but I'll reach out to Ambassador Spock about it. I don't want to cause a panic, and I doubt he does either.
I have Captain Riker for you.
Let's not mention any of this shield business to Riker just yet.
Why?
Put him through. Captain Riker, this is my first
as a
officer,
hologram?
Commander Jara Rydek.
My pleasure.
They didn't really get his likeness very well.
I wish we were all meeting under better circumstances.
So do I, although you and I have actually met before.
We have?
I was a young lieutenant on the Potemkin. You were first officer on the Tuckerman. I piloted you and our science officer in a shuttle to survey quantum resonance in the planetary rings of Residius 6.
Ah, yes. And now I remember.
You know, he gave me some good advice that day about a very difficult job. Yours.
Well, I'm not one to turn down some words of wisdom, sir.
And let me ask, as first officer on a starship, where does your responsibility lie, first and foremost? To the captain, the crew, or the ship itself?
Oh, this old chestnut.
Hmm.
Curious to hear what she says, though.
Well, without the ship, we'd be in a lot of trouble. So...
Anybody ever choose the ship when you asked?
I can't say that they have.
The truth is, it's a trick question.
Yeah, of course it
Every
is.
situation is different, and there are no easy answers. And in some cases, it might not be any of those three. It could be the prime directive. Or the mission.
Yes, so perhaps we should get to the matter at hand. When you were with the Enterprise, you encountered a Takan entity known as Portal 6-3. The Enterprise was held captive in orbit until you were able to convince him to let the ship go.
All of which is detailed in the mission report.
what we want from you is what we can't get from the report. What can we use to get Portal 6-3 to help us?
I've often thought about that over the years. How a small difference in the encounter could have led to disaster. The most important thing is, don't let him push you around. He can appear as a man or as a godlike projection. He'll test you, but don't be overwhelmed by the pageantry and theatrics.
I'll stand up to him. You can trust in that.
Good, but that's just the first step. Portal is full of bluster and bravado, but he can be reasoned with. And that's my other piece of advice. You want to appeal to him rationally. You don't want him thinking you're acting out of fear.
But we are afraid of the Takan, and with good reason.
He's not the sort to suffer fools. And he'll lose interest if he feels his time is being wasted.
I suppose that's one thing we have in common.
Do you think he knows that the Takan have returned?
He didn't even know they were gone when we went there. But the moment the Enterprise dropped into orbit around Delphi Ardu 4, he downloaded the entirety of the ship's computer. So I'd expect the same when you get there.
What if he won't cooperate and we have to face these Takan ourselves?
Then we have a much bigger problem on our hands.
Uh-huh.
What I mean is, in the 16 years since you discovered this outpost, there has to have been research. Battle plans for what to do about the Takan if we encountered more of them. I need to know what they are.
If I had that answer, it would have been the first thing I told you.
We both know Command has had their share of hidden plans in the past. Like Admiral Hansen and Captain Shelby's Special Projects Division at Starfleet Tactical, devising new ways to take on the Borg.
Trust me, This isn't some Starfleet conspiracy to keep you in the dark. But if you two don't think you're equipped to make contact, you need to tell me now. Because there is no silver bullet here. Now's not the time to hesitate. I need to know you're up to this.
There are some things you can't be prepared for. And if there are no specific tactical solutions, we'll just have to take our chances. After all, risk is our business.
Yes, it is.
We try to mitigate that risk as best we can. But the Starfleet we know today was built on that attitude.
Well said.
There was a special task force that considered the Takan, and I was part of it. But because there were no other signs of the Empire, we determined the best course of action was to create a restricted zone around the Delphi-Ardu system. I have my concerns, but I'll clear the way with the brass for your travel into the restricted space. Just remember what I've told you. And it wouldn't hurt to read some Sun Tzu en route. Or Marcus Aurelius.
Anything else?
Machiavelli?
Your advice is well taken, Captain Riker. No matter what he throws at us, we'll stand up to this Takan Guardian.
I'm sure you will. Rest assured, the Federation is taking this threat very seriously. You won't be alone out there for too long.
Thank you, Captain Riker.
One more thing. Ambassador Spock said that Takan stole some data from your central computer. What's that all about?
We're still assessing the... Nothing to report as of right now.
You're fucking lying!
That's it? Ambassador Spock suggested it was something more serious. Which is why I'm asking.
Yeah.
One thing we know is that they stole Starfleet shield algorithms.
The shield algorithms? That could jeopardize every ship in the fleet.
We're still making sure our assessment is accurate. We don't want to raise alarms unnecessarily.
This is as real as it gets, Solano. I have to talk to Starfleet Command now, so I think this conversation has come to an end. I really do hope you get Portal 6-3 and find those Takan before this gets out of control. Riker out.
I specifically said I wanted to keep this under wraps. I thought we had an understanding. Now all of Starfleet will hear about this.
I'm sorry, Captain, but I didn't feel comfortable lying to a superior officer.
I have no problem telling Starfleet. I just didn't want Riker holding this over me. Now I have to think about the damage control of it all. You're dismissed.
This is all your fault, Solano. You should have told Riker.
It's the automated Federation warning buoy. Transmitting the disable code Captain Riker provided.
I know I'm playing a little bit longer than usual, but I want to at least met Portal 6-3.
What are the conditions of our systems?
All internal systems operational.
Commander Westbrook, what are your scans of the planet?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
No sign of this outrageously powerful Takan being?
I'm running a magneton scan now, but so far, nothing.
Where are you? Prep your way, team. We don't know if Portal 6-3 will cooperate. If he's not an asset, he's an enemy. So be ready for anything.
Not for the timid.
Prove you're worth keeping alive for a little while longer.
I guess we're going to play a good cop, bad cop, huh?
I cannot stop this ship any more than you could stop the tides.
Not good enough.
The impotent threats of a lower life form do not sway me. I will not bend to you. I was born 600,000 years ago. But a new age dawns today.
I liked you a lot better when you were Ryan Kapoor. Pain in the ass sometimes, but a stand-up guy when it counted.
You weren't friends with the one who gave up this body.
He didn't give it, you took it. And all the others.
My name is Zanud Losa. I was born in the final days of the Age of Makto. I am but one of many. We who took a leap of faith across the bridge of time to be reborn in these bodies.
Eventually, one of you will break.
You don't understand how overmatched you truly are. This craft was nothing before we imbued it with the speed required by our mission. And the cartel
I don't think you're going to be able to break these guys. These guys are
drive an entire
fanatics.
fleet of ships like this one. But when we wake the Aphelion, we won't need a fleet.
Aphelion.
The Aphelion.
Only then will you understand the might of the Takan Empire. Reborn in this time.
And when you wake the Aphelion, what are you going to do with it?
Anything we want.
Come on! This goes from bad to worse unless you do what they say.
It's coming alive.
He can't stop the ship.
Then he will. Or we cut off his hands and use them ourselves.
The moment I reduce speed or change our heading, the others will know. First, they'll just resume course from elsewhere. Trivial matter. And then, they will come here. For you, this is a dead end.
I don't know if he's telling the truth, but I don't like it. We need a new plan.
He's just trying to talk his way out of trouble. Why would you tell us all this?
I tell you because I value my own life. When my fellow Scions come, and they will come, I expect you'll all act like the savages you are, and a battle wants you. We've all died once. I don't intend to do so again. I won't touch those controls. If you want to get us killed, do it yourselves.
You fear death. There's a way to stop this ship for good, and he knows how. He just needs more pressure.
What kind of pressure?
We heard him. He'll talk. Trust me.
That's against Starfleet protocol.
You're not on a Starfleet ship. Protocol does not apply.
Correct.
We take the action that will lead to our victory. Don't assume your moral code takes precedence above all others.
I'm not gonna torture them. Not like this. There's gotta be something we can work with here. This area here?
Power generation. The warp cores.
It's deserted. What's this?
This display shows the location of the Takan on the ship. This is where the infiltrators are, the central artery of ship systems. Sensors, propulsion, weapons. Doesn't seem to be working here.
This is weird. Going this fast, it would be too dangerous to force a warp collapse by cracking one of the propulsion coils. That could rupture the hull, end up damaging the Cartabula in the process.
And that risks tearing a hole in space.
We can't have that.
Engine status. Right. The warp cores are still practically redlined. However they've supercharged the Zeldi, it still relies on existing systems.
They just amplify the output?
But the Takan have already interfaced with those systems. The controls will be no use. So we'd have to find a way to manually shut down the warp cores.
Might not be a manual shutdown as much as it'll be sabotage.
No one appears to be guarding it. I think I can get us there. But once we're in, do you really think you can cripple my ship? Not something I'd normally ask. But I'm coming around to it.
Well, usually I'm the guy fixing the things that go wrong on a starship. But I'm sure I could figure out a way to break it.
You may even find you like destroying things.
This planet
Are you
was
flirting
a
with him?
problem. It strands us. Left out of the fight when there is a war going on.
Our fight is here, now. This is how we do the most good. For the Empire.
For the Empire.
So, Carter, you didn't beam out after all.
Oh, hello, Miranda.
I thought you'd escaped when we boarded. I'd almost hoped you'd made it off.
Why?
And Nilly's there with you too, right? It's good you two are together.
Sounds like you miss me.
Miranda might have. She was so hopeful about you. But that's not why I called. You're not a fighter. I know it. You know it. That's why you're hiding.
Just checking.
Somewhere on this ship. The Takan Empire has so much to offer you. Think of all the knowledge lost for 500,000 years that you'd have access to. I know you want more from life, and I want to show you what you could be a part of. Not just the wonders you've already seen from us. In our time, we had the power to move stars. Carter, you have a thirst for discovery. And a part of you would remain to experience the things I can show you. But if you try to fight it...
In case you forgot, we were a part of something. I still am. The Federation may not be perfect, but it stands for ideals that your people clearly do not believe in.
We have our own ideals. And we have our own strength. Every one of us on this crusade has fought wars more brutal and consuming than you could fathom. But I want to reach a peaceful resolution to this. Carter.
Why?
We have a plan for you. And for the others, too. We don't want to have to destroy you.
What's this plan you have? Is it the one where you steal our bodies and erase our minds?
That's a simplistic view of it. Your memories would live on within us. We can continue this conversation in person. I'll see you on the bridge very soon.
Our comm badges. She's tracking our location with them.
If we have to use force to free our fellow Scions, there will be casualties.
We can't stay here. And we need to disable the transmitters.
Where'd you go? You don't want to talk to me?
She's trying to keep you talking.
I mean, I get it. But I'm trying to help you. You're still there. I think that's because you know we have something to offer you. And you're starting to do the math. And realizing that making peace with us is better than the alternative.
I don't know who you are, but you're on borrowed time. Miranda, if you're in there, I will find a way to get you back. Keep fighting.
I really care about her opinion right now.
Got it.
Mine's done too.
Time to hit the road.
You've forgotten something.
Have I?
They know where we're going.
Set to stun.
Yeah! Well, you should have done that from the get-go.
Are you?
You keep getting in my way.
We've managed this far without doing it your way.
We are hardly in control of this situation.
Solve the problem of what to do with him. Now let's move it.
Yeah, looks about as bleak as I remembered from the show. The Last Guardian. Yeah. This is something else I remember. I thought they were going to do what they did during that episode where they all got scattered when they beamed down.
Our coordinates match the exact location where Riker met Portal 6-3.
Unlike Riker's team, we beamed down without a problem.
It's quiet.
Portal has to know we're here.
If he won't come to us, we'll go to him. Spread out.
Already gave it a scan. Dead. Whole planet feels like it's been turned to stone.
Doctor?
Commander, keeping an eye on those deuterium levels? Good. Last thing we need are your cells destabilizing on a hostile alien planet.
Anything unusual, Commander?
It's all unusual, to be honest. We've precious little data on this planet, so brief was Captain Riker's visit. Anything he didn't see himself is a total unknown.
We deal with unknowns all the time. Part of the job.
I'm accustomed to dealing with the unknown from my station on the bridge.
If I recall right, Geordi LaForge transported in here, hanging upside down.
I guess we're lucky we were spared the indignity.
Anything to scan? Ah, here we go.
These crystals are dormant.
Riker's report said they were glowing, that they served as energy collectors. It could be a good sign they're inactive. The Guardian of the Takan doesn't have his guard up.
Don't see anything else right now.
This is where Portal 6-3 projected his image.
He was guarding this bridge. That has to mean something.
We'll move forward when you're ready, Commander.
Someone else over here to interact with.
Burn marks.
The report mentioned phaser fire being redirected toward these strange crystals.
It also mentioned Portal calling down lightning bolts.
Better keep our guards up.
Yeah, that's what I just scanned over there then. Alright, I'm not seeing anything else over here. Anything up here? No. Interesting. Because I walk this way.
Portal 6-3! Anybody!
Well, nothing. Doesn't appear to be anything else to do on this side.
Follow me. Ends here. Is it me, or did that path just disappear?
There was a path there a moment ago.
There must be an explanation.
Tetrametric pulses.
Same energy as the other Takan technology.
Most of the crystals appear dormant. What's different about this one?
Readings indicate there's a cavity in the rock right behind it.
We could try melting a hole through the wall with our phasers.
Worth a try.
Yes, I have to.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's what I figured when I had.
There's got to be a weakness. Somewhere it isn't totally solid.
illusion.
I'm sure that wall was as real as the rest of them. I felt it.
It's almost like our holodeck technology, but far more advanced.
The crystals must be absorbing the energy from our phasers.
I'm picking up something. A biosignature. It's faint, but it's there.
With me.
Another dead end.
Or another illusion.
Crewman LaRue, if you would.
Well.
Duval to Resolute. Beam Crewman LaRue directly to medical.
Is he okay?
Yeah. He'll live.
Not all crystals work the same, it seems.
Don't fire your phasers at any crystals unless we're sure they're putting out the same pulses as before. Looks like there used to be a bridge here.
Aside from the breathable atmosphere, this is a remarkably inhospitable planet. Traces indicate there was once living flora, but it's been dead so long it's practically turned to stone.
From what Portal told Riker, it was an outpost to defend the far edge of the Takan Empire.
Well, it's not that now. Now, it's a grave.
I wonder what's keeping the atmosphere breathable. Plants. Aha. Let me see what. Before I hit that, yeah, I know. Okay, maybe do I have to go around? Yeah, I know. I missed some over here. Missed.
I wonder if this place was always so lifeless.
There's something alive beyond this wall. Based on the data from the Enterprise's records, it must be Portal 6-3.
I'll figure out how to get us past it.
I know you will. The biosignature is coming from this direction. I'm sure of it. But there's no getting through here.
There's always a way.
Let's go hit that rock.
Tetrametric. Good sign.
Commander!
Look at that.
Trust, but verify.
Indeed.
We don't have any data about what's below the surface on Delphi Ardu-4. And I don't feel a particularly strong urge to find out.
Then that
I can
makes
agree with
two
that.
of us.
Yeah. 3 of us. Got more crystals over here.
Good.
Over here, there. Oh. How'd that end up over here? Okay. This doesn't go anywhere. There's still something else over here reading. What happens if I blast it again? Nothing. Okay, wait a minute. The hell?
Tetrametric. Better go see what's different. Aha.
The way's clear. Good work, Commander.
We'll make sure it's safe.
That's a big crystal. And plants. For a sign of natural vegetation.
Incredible.
The plants here are actually alive. Is this the biosignature you detected, Doctor?
No, not a match.
Tetrametric.
Then it's creating an illusion as well.
Based on the data we have so far.
Only one thing left to do.
Doctor, be ready to beam us out if it turns out we're wrong.
Duval to Resolute. Lock transporter on away team.
Amazing.
There's nothing like this in any Federation record.
The plants.
They're good.
Barbarians.
It's him.
How dare you disturb me? I'd hoped you had enough sense to leave of your own accord, but here you stand. Fools. In another time, I would have destroyed you and your ship simply for setting foot in this place. Fortunately for you, that time has passed.
Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire. We've come a long way to meet you.
Guardian. I am guardian of nothing. The Takan no longer exist. Don't care to be reminded. If this is why you've come, then you should leave. Now.
I'm surprised you don't know. With your powers, can't you learn anything?
I can. But you should mind your words.
The Resolute's database is being accessed.
Yeah.
The Takan have returned? After so long, how could they? Explain. Now.
Draconian technology made it possible. To enable the transfer of consciousness from one being to another after physical death. We call it bioforming. A group of Draconians calling themselves Scions of the Flame used it to reawaken after hundreds of millennia.
That name meant something to him.
Scions of the Flame.
Is something wrong?
I'd hardly call them Takan. They were a radical faction with beliefs outside the mainstream.
I thought so.
Beliefs that lesser life forms should serve as vessels to ensure Takan immortality. You want me to help you destroy them. That's why you've come. You want to destroy these scions.
There is a war looming that could engulf the Quadrant. We want you to help us bring about peace before it gets to that point.
Peace always comes at a cost.
They have an incredibly powerful energy source they call the Cartabula.
These scions have the Cartabula.
And they've used it as a weapon against us.
I will speak with you alone.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Where are they?
Where's my team?
They're safe where we left them. That the scions have stolen the Cartabula is deeply concerning. And to be honest, I'd rather speak with you alone, John Rydick.
Okay, talk.
Your colleagues don't know what it means to be the last of one's kind. You and I are remnants of fallen civilizations. The Kobliad, the Takan. One dying, one dead. Our species could not be more different, but we both know the meaning of loss. The others wouldn't understand. It's beyond their ability to comprehend.
I see you're hurting, and I understand your pain. But pain shouldn't stop us from moving forward.
You do not understand me, nor the pain I feel for the loss of our once glorious empire.
Someone double check. Okay, yeah, mic's still recording. Good. If I had 2 monitors, I could easily check that without having to tab out.
Tell me, why spend your days away from your own people when so few of them are left? Why live your life working for this federation to which the Kobliad do not even belong?
I thought they were a Federation species.
Submit yourself to their authority. It makes no sense. Not by my logic.
The Federation isn't an authority to be obeyed. At its heart, it's a set of principles meant to ensure the survival and safety of all species, regardless of their origin. You told Riker you'd wait until you were needed. You're needed now. We need you.
As much as it pains me to learn the Cartabula has fallen into the hands of the Scions, my services are not up for offer. To be chosen as a portal was to give one's entire self to the cause of protecting the Takan Empire. I left behind everything I know, and now you want me to turn against my own people. Betrayal of my oath, and everything I vowed to protect.
These aren't the Takan you knew. They're a facsimile. They're imposters. And they tarnish the Takan name.
We faced these questions in my time as well. What you call bioforming, we thought of as a marginal science. But if these reborn Takan plan to restore the Empire, is that a disaster to be avoided? Takonian technology is so advanced, it could save millions of species currently on the brink of extinction, including your own. And at the price of a small few, think of how the many could benefit. Instead, it sounds as if you are reacting out of fear before you have a full understanding of what's at stake. I don't think you've given this full consideration. You may have more to gain than to lose.
You told me your people didn't use bioforming. That's because you knew it was wrong. Wrong to employ on an individual basis, and surely wrong on a galactic scale.
You are correct. The Takan did not use bioforming on a large scale. That the way these Scions are using it would not have been accepted when the Empire still stood. I'm curious to see these Scions masquerading as true Takan. So I will go with you, and we shall find them. But when we do, I will judge them myself as a guardian of the Takan.
Well, this...
To understand their true intentions. For better or worse.
It's certainly your right to make your own decisions. I won't tell you otherwise.
Very well.
Not as if we could stop them.
I'll return you now.
Huh. That's interesting.
Commander!
Uh,
Hold your fire. I'm all right. He's coming with us.
We assumed the worst.
She's perfectly fine. Now then, shall we?
All right. We can beam up your... Do you have any equipment or tools?
Whoa.
This is all I need.
Away team +1. Ready to beam up.
interesting development. All right, well, I'm going to be ending this here. I did want to get through until we, damn, almost 2 hours. Shit. I did want to play it long enough to meet the Guardians. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.